Let me tell you something. Think of someone smart, charismatic, loved in every room they walk into. You know at least one. In your neighborhood, at work, in your social circle, maybe even in your own family. When they smile at you, something feels genuine. You sense a warmth behind their eyes, like you've known them for years. But that warmth is fake. That smile has been calculated specifically for you. That person knows exactly what they're doing. Their brain has adapted to it. And no matter how hard you try, you couldn't do what they do. Think of someone who can't feel empathy, but can perfectly imitate it. Someone who is completely indifferent to other people's pain, yet can cry on command when it suits them. Someone who never feels guilty for the harm they cause. Who always finds a way to shift the blame. Who easily forgets every promise they make. These people aren't trying to be cruel. Their brains work differently, so they genuinely cannot feel other people's emotions. They experience something like love, but it's shallow and short-lived. They form attachments, but those attachments are driven by self-interest. There's something else worth noting. People with psychopathic traits tend to be highly impulsive. They make snap decisions without thinking about consequences. They don't like rules. The pursuit of risk and excitement becomes a need for them, and they always see themselves as superior to others. They believe that laws, rules, and social norms simply don't apply to them. This combination, high motivation, low empathy, zero guilt, limitless self-confidence, sometimes produces destruction, and sometimes it produces extraordinary results. So, how does the brain do this? How does someone live without a conscience? How do you make decisions without ever feeling fear? And the strangest question of all, is the brain of these people actually physically different from yours? The answer is yes, measurably, verifiably different. First, let's be clear about something. Psychopathy is not a film character or a Hollywood invention. Psychopathy is a real, measurable personality structure that science has been studying for decades. And the statistics will surprise you. Roughly 4% of the general population carries psychopathic traits. But when you look at the business world, that number triples. Among CEOs and senior executives, the rate of psychopathic traits is 3 to 4 times higher than in the general population. This is not a coincidence. This is a system. And to understand this system, we need to look at the brain. In May 2026, researchers from Nanyang Technological University announced something striking. They conducted MRI scans on a group of 120 people. Some participants scored high on psychopathy assessments. When the scans came back, the team was stunned. In the brains of individuals with psychopathic traits, a region called the striatum was on average 10% larger than in the others. Not just slightly larger, measurably, consistently, and reproducibly larger. So what is the striatum? What does it do? The striatum is the brain's reward, motivation, and decision-making center. When you want something, when you push yourself toward a goal, when you take a risk, this region activates. It's one of the areas where dopamine flows most intensely, which means the motivation and reward system in a psychopathic brain is physically larger than yours. It wants more, it seeks more intensely, and it's much harder to stop. But a large striatum alone doesn't explain psychopathy, because the real issue lies somewhere else entirely. The amygdala. 2 small, almond-shaped structures deep inside the brain, the center of fear, empathy, danger perception, and conscience. When you see a child crying and something stirs inside you, that's your amygdala. When you stop yourself before hurting someone, that's your amygdala. When you feel guilt after making a mistake, again, that's your amygdala. In people with psychopathic traits, the amygdala works differently. It's smaller, less active. Its response to emotional signals is weak. Think of an experiment. Show a normal person a photo of a crying child. Because the amygdala fires, the person experiences empathy and discomfort almost immediately. Now show that same photo to someone who scores high on psychopathy. The amygdala response is almost non-existent. It's not that they feel nothing at all, but the response is weak, delayed, and shallow. And this is where everything becomes clear. A powerful striatum plus a weak amygdala. What does that combination produce? High motivation, low empathy, a strong drive for reward, a weak sense of guilt, laser focus on goals, and a complete indifference to other people's pain. These people aren't working hard to be bad. Their brains simply work differently. And is this difference something you're born with or something that develops over time? Science is still debating that question. What isn't debated is that both biology and environment play a role. Twin studies show that psychopathic traits are between 50 and 60% heritable. The rest is shaped by environment, early trauma, neglect, abuse, or on the other end of the spectrum, an excessively overprotective upbringing. So, creating a psychopath requires a specific biology plus a specific environment. When the two come together, the outcome shifts. But now, let's get to the really interesting question. Are psychopaths always dangerous? No, that's the most common and the most damaging misconception. Research shows that psychopathic traits exist on a spectrum. Everyone sits somewhere on that spectrum. Some people carry low-level psychopathic traits, and those traits make them more decisive, more focused, less prone to emotional decision-making. Think about surgeons. They spend hours operating on an open human body without panicking. What makes that possible, in part, is the ability to create emotional distance. Think of a combat pilot, a firefighter, a hostage negotiator. The ability to suppress emotional responses is a genuine advantage in certain professions. The key difference is this: in healthy individuals, this capacity is controlled. It's a choice. You can choose to be empathetic or choose not to be. In people with high psychopathy scores, this is the default mode. Empathy requires effort. It doesn't come naturally. So, what about someone with no conscience at all? Do those people actually exist? They do. And when their brains are scanned, what scientists find has shaken the field. The prefrontal cortex, the front region of the brain, the center of planning, decision-making, impulse control, and moral judgment. Calculating long-term consequences, putting the brakes on immediate desires, weighing right and wrong, all of this happens in the prefrontal cortex. In severe and chronic cases of psychopathy, significant abnormalities appear in this region. Neural connections are less developed, gray matter density is lower, the communication between the prefrontal cortex and the amygdala is weakened. What does that mean? The balance between immediate reward and long-term consequence breaks down. When the brain wants something, it doesn't ask, "What happens if I do this?" It just says, "I want this," and it acts. Now I want to tell you something, and when you hear it, something might shift inside you. A diagnosis of psychopathy doesn't automatically make someone dangerous, but people who carry psychopathic traits and have no awareness of it can cause serious harm to those around them, in the workplace, in relationships, in families. And most of the time, that harm goes unnoticed because people with psychopathic traits are often exceptionally intelligent, magnetic, and extraordinarily skilled at wearing a social mask. They learn to mimic emotional responses to manipulate you. They learn to cry. They learn to show empathy. They learn to appear remorseful. But these are learned behaviors, not felt ones. So what about you? What did you think about as you listened to all of this? Maybe a name came to mind, maybe a relationship, maybe a coworker, maybe yourself. And this is where science arrives at its most fascinating finding. Individuals who are aware of their psychopathic traits and actively work with that awareness achieve significantly better outcomes in therapy, in their careers, in their relationships. The brain can change. Neuroplasticity proves it. Strengthening the amygdala's response is possible. Developing empathy like a muscle is possible. But first, awareness is required. And awareness always begins with knowledge. Every night, millions of people sleep. Their brains work in different ways. Some wake up in the morning and feel genuine regret for what they did the day before. Some don't even remember. Both are human, both have a brain, but the structure inside that brain, the connections, the strength of those connections, those are different. And that difference shapes your choices, your decisions, your relationships, and your life. Everything you think you know about the brain is still just the surface. Every night, millions of people sleep. The psychopath's brain sleeps too. So does yours. But the difference shows up when you're awake. If this video made you think, don't forget to subscribe. Every week, New breaks down one more of the strangest secrets your brain is hiding from you. Think with New. Everything your brain keeps from you. Right here. Subscribe. Turn on notifications. See you in the next one.